In this video, I'm going to show you a recording from a call that I did with some clients where I break down an offer that we helped the client create that generated $86,000 in just under 100 days. And at the time of filming this, I'm pretty sure it's over 100,000. And what they're actually rolling with here is around $1,000 offer on the front end, and they're rolling into a 6K offer on the back end. I work with the two gents that run this inside my inner circle, and we're going to be working together for the long term. We'll get this up to become a 7-figure offer, and we'll win them a 2 Comma Club award with the offer that you're seeing here. They're helping folks grow their Facebook groups using what we call like micro video content. Really, really cool offer, really, really hot market at the moment. And wanted to share with you a detailed breakdown of this offer so that you can probably learn some stuff that you could then go and implement into your own offer, be that in terms of how we present the offer, or be that strategically in terms of pricing, or in terms of breaking down the components of the offer, the deliverables, the guarantees, all that kind of stuff. All right, so this one is a longer one, but for anyone that sells courses, coaching, consulting in the 1K to 30K plus range, I definitely think you're going to get something out of this. So grab a cup of tea, grab a glass of wine, whatever it is that you're into, and settle in, because I think you're going to enjoy this one. We're going to cut over into a second. Before we do that, if you haven't already, give this video a like. We'd really appreciate it. It helps grow the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you want to get notified whenever I drop new videos. There's that little bell there as well. And drop any questions or comments that you've got below in relation to this. This will give you a feel for how we do things, right? And if this is of interest to you, you can check out that first link in the description. You'll see another offer example that did 45K in 11 days, and you'll really start to get a feel for the style of how we do things, right? We build offers that have a lot of leverage in them. We combine them with content. We help our clients creating content. And what that means is we can really compress the sales process, and we can close deals that are anywhere from 1,000 to 50 grand in the DMs without really needing to do any sales calls or stuff like that. It keeps it really simple, and it's really powerful. And our goal for all of our clients with whatever price they're selling is to get them up to cranking out daily sales, just having a lot of fun doing it. Okay, so check out this video, and you might want to look at that first link in the description if you want to go deeper with this stuff on it. All right, appreciate you all. I'm going to cut over the video. Let's jump in.
Before we kind of fly into the copy, from my perspective, I guess when I heard this idea, and when I hear ideas similar, like I spoke about with the thing Andre and I went into in our one-to-one call, and Prima, when you and I had our first one-to-one call and we identified that hook that you were hiding at the back, and then we pulled that to the front and made that like not only just the main thing for your offer, but for your brand, and how that had such a massive impact. If you can identify, there's kind of two sides to this. There's like the what and the how. So sometimes you might have one of them, sometimes you might have both of them, and sometimes you might have none of them. And if you have neither, you can still make a lot of money, but it's just harder. And so when I heard this idea from Flip and Nate, it had both the what they were doing was unique, and kind of how they were doing it was unique as well. And the reason it jumped out to me in particular was because there was one crystal clear pain point, which is I want to go a group, but it's fucking slow. Right? That then opens a Pandora's box of other pains, problems, frustrations that people have, and most of us know what they are because we've lived through them, right? And the whole point here isn't, using Facebook to grow a group doesn't work. It obviously works, but it's if we can present people with a new vehicle that avoids the stuff that's giving them anxiety and cold sweats, while addressing that clear present pain, you're going to be onto a winner. And that's the main reason, in my opinion, and with my experience, that's the main reason this thing has popped. Right? Obviously, you guys are awesome. It's a cool doc. Not taking credit from you, but the underlying reason that people are paying attention to this is because there's a clear pain and you're offering them a path to achieve an outcome, remove themselves from that pain without having to do all the stuff they don't want to do. And whenever we can bring those factors together, and depending on how you look at it, it's 2, 3, 4 factors, depending on, like, whenever you can bring those elements together effectively with a real solution, you're going to be onto something good. When I sit here and look back at SAA in 2019, early 2020, when we rolled it out, we made buckets off the pain points of, it's the same pain point, but and I was probably too short-sighted to even realize this is what I was doing at the time, but it worked, so I kept doing it. Uploading onto a blog or YouTube and just waiting for traffic, right? You can very accurately describe that world to people, because I'd had so many people tell me, and I'd experienced it myself, having done the blogging side of things. And you put however many hours into an article or a video or a piece of content, you upload it, and then you kind of cross your fingers and hope. And that's a painful experience for people to have to go through. It's frustrating, right? When you can find those pains and frustrations and then give them a way out that ultimately achieves the same outcome. And we were able to even sell more on the outcome side because of the high ticket thing. So there was that element to it as well. But when you can find that vehicle, create that vehicle, find that vehicle, whatever it is that absolves that pain and gets them that outcome without that frustration, you're onto a winner. And I think if all you did was each day spent your time scheming around what are people pissed off with and how can I build them a boat that helps them get to this place that they want to go without having to go through the places they don't want to go through, you'll never worry about money ever again. Because that is never going to go away. It's human nature, right? We want this thing and we want it without doing, A, B, and C. How much you can then charge becomes impacted by, okay, well, what's the risk associated with your vehicle? Okay, how quickly is your vehicle going to work for me, right? What's the probability that it'll work for me? All of those types of factors. And that's slightly deeper than I want to go today, but I really want to make sure that fundamentally is like etched in everyone's head, because when you start to look at the world with that lens, you'll see opportunities popping up in a lot of places. Now, the tricky part is it's pretty easy to identify people's pains. They're not shy about bitching and moaning, especially on social media, right? But the tricky part is building a working solution that avoids what they don't want to do. That's the tricky part. That's why I say when you combine those two, that's when you're on to gold, right? So I just want to pause there. Has anyone got any thoughts, comments on that they want to touch on before we take this a little bit further? Or Flip, Nate, do you guys want to chime in on, I guess, your experiences with that?
Yeah, I would say that was the entire angle for promoting, or now that you're mentioning it, I probably should keep doing it, but that was the entire angle when we launched, was grow your group without adding friends, without cold DMs, eliminating portions of organic Facebook that we knew people weren't enjoying.
Yep.
That was the entire premise of the promo, right? So that, yeah, it definitely clicks and makes sense.
Really, really powerful stuff. And it works in any market, right? Like, that's not just our stuff. Like that works anywhere you go. If there's big enough market that people are spending money There's going to be shit that they're pissed off with, and there's going to be stuff that they're being told to do that they don't want to do. It's a very profitable way to start analyzing things. Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's where, so I'm just reading the comments from Prima. And that's where, if you could achieve that for somebody, like let's talk about a hypothetical world. If you could achieve that for somebody where they could, okay, let's say you go to a clinic, they hook up your vitals to make sure you don't die overnight. They give you a pill and you wake up and you're just completely jacked. Like, how much could they charge for that? It's like the sky's the limit, right? So that's where the speed and but then if it was like, yeah, okay, but there's a 50% chance that you won't wake up, that probably impacts how much they can charge, right? So then this is where you start factoring in speed, risk, right? And it's an extreme example, but it's a helpful way to think about it, because then you can start applying it to your own stuff, right? Like if you thought about it from an internet marketing perspective, it might be, look, you can run this one ad. We've run it 10 times and every time it makes 10 grand in 24 hours, but we've tested it with 5 other people, or we've tested it with 10 other people. 5 of them got the same result and 5 of them lost their Facebook ad account forever. Right? If you eliminated the risk of losing your Facebook account, super attractive offer. But you bring that risk in, you could probably still charge for it, but you're not going to be able to charge as much because you're probably going to be selling it on like a black hat site or something like that, right? So they're the things to start pondering. So yeah, that was what really jumped out to me about this is looking at the world with that lens. And then when I heard about this, I was like, we can go nuts on people's pain points, people's frustrations, and giving them a golden ticket that means they can avoid that stuff, right? The other little tip to add in here, which is a Travisism, is give people 5 minutes on what they previously told you was Heaven Island, and it will become Hell Island. Right? So as an example, a rookie coach will tell you, oh, I just want my calendar full of calls. I just want my calendar full of calls because then I'll get clients. Right? Give it a month, regardless of if they're getting clients or not, waking up every day to a full calendar where you've got to spend 8 hours a day doing 45-minute strategy sessions is pretty painful. So what was Heaven Island quickly becomes Hell Island. So what that presents to you is constantly evolving opportunities at all different phases, right? Because even if someone's got a result, that doesn't mean that there's very quickly not going to be something that they're pissed off with, right? And I say pissed off in the sense of not that they're like angry or whatever, but that they want to solve, right? Like, let's take that call example one step further. There's a couple of directions we could take it. First one might be, okay, well, you're sick of being on the phone. Let's hire you a setter and a closer. Great for a little while until setter leaves, closer makes this crazy promise to this person. You get sick of managing people. So there's always evolutions, right? Like something that you think you want, you get it, and then it presents new problems. Same with like, okay, so their calendar's full. Okay, well then let's close in the DMs. Great for a while because your calendar's now clear. And then you're like, okay, well, I don't want to sell them the DMs anymore because I get like messenger PTSD or whatever. But you can see my point, right? Like it keeps evolving. Then they might hire someone, or they might hire a team of people, and they're like, oh, I don't want to manage a team anymore. So there's always opportunities to identify these pains and problems at all different parts of the process. And I think the other cool thing is it doesn't have to be like a life-changing thing, because if there's one thing that they're doing each day that they hate and you present a solution to achieve the same outcome or even just maintain, but without that thing, that's a win. Right? So start looking at the world with this lens, and I think you'll see opportunities popping up. And as you're crafting your offers, think about how you can position it relative to that, right? Like, how does this sit relative to frustrations? Because when I read your stuff, that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, what pain points does this talk about? And how does it present a mechanism to achieve the outcome that addresses those? It sounds fundamental and simple, but I can promise you 99% of people don't get it. That out there in the market, they're going, why aren't I making money? Why isn't my stuff selling? So there's just not that point of difference. That's the starting point, is the point of difference. And then if we take it deeper, it's like, okay, how does it play into what people are pissed off with and giving them a way out that avoids current stuff that they don't want to do. Cool. All righty. So you guys can all see this in front of. Do you guys mind if I drop a link to this in the chat so people can follow along at home?
Yeah.
They feel free to buy it, folks, if you want to. That's my extensive pitch. Cool. Alrighty. So, I think the best way to do this, Flip, Nate, is we'll kind of read through it, and then I want to pause on certain points, and then let's just kind of have a discussion around it for as long as you guys want to hang out for. But I think there's some really clear points that I want to get across, and if we can achieve that, that's brilliant, Foster. I like that. If we can achieve that, then I'll be good, and then we can talk about whatever. So thanks for checking out this doc. If you're reading this, you've expressed an interest in getting digital steroids for your online business, aka the group juice. If you're currently spending your valuable time on Facebook trying to grow your group using the old methods of Facebook organic marketing, like mass adding everyone and their mother onto your friends list so you can spam them with an invite as soon as they accept, but it's just as slow as hell and downright tedious, robbing you of that precious time with your family, ultimately keeping you glued to the computer with an inbox full of freebie seekers that aren't looking to do anything but waste your time. All right, there's a shitload going on even in those first 4 paragraphs. So, old, always a good word to use because it implies that there's a new way, like without even saying it's the new way, it implies it. There's a bit of assumed knowledge going on in here. So this would obviously only be put in front of someone who's already, well, I mean, it may end up in front of someone who's not in the game, but there's assumed knowledge, right? Like in this first part, you're assuming I know what you're talking about in terms of if you're currently spending your time on Facebook trying to grow your group using the old methods, right? Like that implies I'm already in the matrix. So you need to think for this to be effective, you need to think about the awareness level of the person receiving it. If you were putting this in front of somebody who, wasn't in the organic matrix and hadn't experienced the pains of what it can present, it's not going to be nearly as effective, right? So those pain points, and their phase of awareness need to be aligned. need to be aligned. So where a lot of people would stop is there, right? I'm putting my hand over the screen. I don't know why I'm doing that because you guys can't see my hand. A lot of people would stop there, right? But what have we all picked up, hopefully through JC's ramblings? Specificity, 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 right? So we go into detail, and I think in our back and forth, dudes, this was probably the main thing I was like, get more specific, get more specific, get more specific. And each time it came back, it was just getting better and better and better. It's like, okay, so, well, what are those old methods, right? Like mass adding everyone and their mother onto your friends list. So, and you could even get more specific here, right? You could go, okay, so where are they adding those people from? Right? Like how can you articulate that in a way that that's going to make them shiver even more, that you know exactly what they're fucking doing? So you could take it even one step further, right? So that you can spam them with an invite as soon as they accept, right? Or so that you can attempt to slide into their DMs, but you know that 80%, 90% of them are going to ghost you. So you can get even more specific, and you want it to be as like clear. You want it to be as crystal clear in terms of the action that you know that they're taking, right? So invite could be general. That could be that they actually, like, you know, you go into your group and you send the invite, but that also could be in the DMs. So we can get even more specific. What's the actual thing that you know that they're doing, that if they read that, they're going to go, yeah, that's me, right? So yeah, we can even get more specific on this. It's not necessary, but if you want to, you know, go deeper. But it's slow as hell and downright tedious. We could take this deeper, right? Like, what part of it's slow? Why is it slow? And it's just the intro, so we don't have to go too deep. But if you want to talk about continuing to refine, robbing you of precious time with your family, right? So this goes into two factors. This goes into both reputation and identity. We're thinking about how other people are viewing us. We're thinking about how our wife's viewing us, how our husband's viewing us, how our kids are viewing us. That's your reputation, is how other people look at you. And this is jabbing at that, right? I don't know if you guys read the copy I sent in the chat, like that like mind fucking stuff. And then there's also the identity side, because it's kind of jabbing at how you look at yourself, because you're not there, right? So there's two sides to that. That's a really, really powerful, however many words that is, ultimately keeping you glued to your computer. So you could say, you know, or causing your heart rate to increase every time you open the app on your phone, right? Because not all of them are doing it on their computer. Some of them are going to be on their phone. So you want to get as specific as possible to exactly what they're experiencing, right? You know, computers kind of out of sight, out of mind. For me, that the anxiety never came from the computer, because I can turn that off and lock it in the study. It came from every morning looking at my phone and going, Messenger, holy crap. All right, let me scroll and see if I can find the message from my mum. Like, you know, wait, do I know any of these people? So the more specific about like the feeling, or the thing that's causing the feeling, the better, right? Freebie seekers who aren't looking to do anything but waste your time. So this is stuff we can all relate to, right? And I'm gonna pick stuff up as we go through this, so you guys can consider this feedback as well. Like freebie seekers, good word, but what action does a person take that makes them a freebie seeker? Like, how does that manifest in the real world? Right? Typically, it's as soon as you try pivot a conversation to an offer, they're gone. So articulate that, because people can't, like, they kind of know what a freebie seeker is, but it's the actions that are pissing them off and how that leaves them feeling. So describe that situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm gonna change this up.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, look, it's awesome already, but I'll just kind of sprout stuff as we go through it. You know, how do we know that they're wasting our time, right? Like for me, and I don't know if you guys, but you know, some people are in like 7 other DMs having the same conversation, right? There's a word you could use in there, but you might not want to. Cool. So this part's really cool. Maybe you've managed to cross 100 members, hyper specific. Because how many people have got their group to like that 100 to 200 mark, right? And when they get there, they're like, woo, 100, which is cool. Like it's more than 98% of the world's ever done with their group. But heaven becomes hell. Your engagement's super low. So this could be stronger. Unless it comes into it. You know, how do they know their engagement is super low? It's that feeling of pouring your heart and soul into a post. There's no likes, no hearts, no comments. So you can get even more specific. And you watch that little, you know, how at the top it says how long it's been since you posted. Fuck, 55 minutes. And still no one's seen it. 2 hours. 6 hours. Right? And one thing I like to do is relay the conversation that I'm guessing they're probably having in their head, because I've had it too. Do you sometimes just think to yourself, what the fuck's the point? And they're going to be going, yeah. Leads. Are you even generating leads? If you're not, I probably shouldn't even ask about sales, should I? So this is cool copy. Because you're kind of walking down the path with them and they're going, yeah, please don't ask me. This could, you know, again, this could be more refined, but I know it gets into more detail. But what is a lead? Like, how do they may be going, well, I don't know, maybe I do have leads. What's the lead you guys are talking about? You know, like an actual real conversation with a person who's not a weirdo. You know, you yearn for that feeling of actually kind of jiving back and forth in Messenger with somebody who wants what you've got and will talk to you properly. Right. This is actually pretty common when folks are starting their groups or they've been at it for a while already. Right. It's a grind, to say the least. You could, you know, if you guys have got an indication of how long were most people like plugging away at their groups, a while, you could put a range in there. That'd be even more, you know, people who've been plugging away at it for 3 to 12 months, right? Whatever that range is, because a while is subjective, right? Depends on your sticking power, depends on your willpower. To some people, a while might be a week. To some people, a while might be 3 years. So what are we talking about here? Right. Now, let me be clear. These traditional methods you're currently using can and do work. This is a good, and I don't know if this is the right spot for this line. Maybe there'll be a better spot for it further down, but this is a good bullshit killer. Because when you start telling people, hey, achieve this thing that you really want and do it without, you guys have seen it, like do it without all this stuff. It works really well, but the bullshit radar starts going off, right? Do it without ever turning on the internet. Wait, what? So that's a good bullshit disarmer by saying, look, this stuff does work, but is there a better way? Is there a way that suits you better, right? If you can, without a doubt, do it faster and have people lining up at the gates to join your group, why wouldn't you? You could take that one step further. Do they just want a bunch of people that have requested their groups, or do they want people who've answered all the questions, entered their email, know who you are when they request to join because they've watched your TikTok? Right? So you could get more specific there on exactly what it is that they want. And most importantly, more sales. Before you ask, these aren't little $100 sales, though you'll have those too. We're talking $1,000 to $5,000 high ticket sales on the regular. You see how casual this is too? Like this, I really like this style. It's very conversational. It's not like sterile marketing babble. And the best part, this can happen as soon as this week if you add what we call group juice. So to me, that's the intro. Right? You've mentioned this here, and then you've gone on a little journey with them that's telling them, look, I understand you, what you're going through, what you want, what you're doing, and we've got this thing. This is cool. This is an open loop. This is pulling them through to further down. Right. Anyone want to chime in at this point? Preferably, or not preferably, but Nate and Flip especially. What do you guys think about that first part? Like, it's your thing. You guys talk.
That's definitely the intro. And like looking at this, just listening to you the last few minutes, I'm like, yep, we're gonna revamp this, make it better, and then we're gonna talk to you and see when we should raise the price.
Yeah, I got a bunch of notes we'll add to. I'm taking them all down so we can just make some changes. I mean, the more specific we can get, the better, right?
Yep.
And I guess even to piggyback, as you were saying in the beginning, you know, our whole launch was you had to have a high ticket product to even buy, but now we've even opened it up to. I've added additional trainings and shit over the last week or so to kind of appease to a different market, like the beginner market too, right? But that made me think of that because if the doc is just catered towards people who are already moving in business, then
yeah. So this is catered towards people who are already have a group, right? Yeah. So if you want to go after people who don't have a group it's going to need changing.
Yeah.
That's not to say you have to do that though. Like, you guys can probably get the fastest results for people who already have all the bones set up, and then you're just giving them this extra piece. So that's not to say you have to do that, right? The way to think about it is, who do you want in the back end?
Yeah.
Because the back end is going to be driven by the success of the front end. So who can you get the best and fastest results for in the front end? Because that's going to drive more ascension, and that's where you're going to make the real money. So keep that in mind. Okay. Everyone else got anything they want to chime in with? Cool. Yep.
Should we look to continue to update like our results as well as students, over say like a month, 2 months? Because like a lot of cool shit's happened that we could add in here to kind of replace or even add to. We don't want to make it longer, obviously, but
yeah, just take out your weaker stuff and put in stronger stuff.
Okay.
Yep, definitely. Cool. If your business has you, it's a business. I don't know if that's the right word. Might be something else we can put there. But let's leave that for a sec. Burnt out on finding friends to add and talking to folks that have no desire to give you the time of day, much less buy from you. So again, you could say, hey, I really understand you, by telling them, are you adding them from these places? Right. Posting to your dead group and getting crickets on that content that has your, yes, we spoke about this. Heart and soul attached to it, and only getting one like from your Aunt Betty in Florida. That's brilliant. That's fucking great. Wasting time on freebie seekers and tire kickers who leave you on red in the DMs faster than your cousin Jimmy that owes you money. Where's he from? Where's Jimmy from?
Alabama.
Alabama. So yeah, I mean, we've covered some of the points about where you could probably make this slightly stronger. Unsure if you have your group set up properly to take your members through a smooth process of becoming a client in record time. Right. So this could be unsure if your group is even set up in the right way, or if you've completely messed it up, and that's why you're getting, that's why it's not working. Right? You plant that seed of doubt around. That's what you're trying to do there. Is like, what have you messed something up in setting it up?
That was a powerful line you just said. Plant the seed of doubt. That was strong.
Have I missed something? Right? Am I putting all this effort into content? Right? Like, nobody wants to follow a suboptimal gym routine. Nobody wants to follow if they're putting in all that hard work, they want to make sure that they're doing it right. This is for you, and I encourage you to read what we have laid out here, or what we laid out below very, very carefully. Nate and I have been testing and developing this for the last 10 plus months, and is the core reason that we've been able to quickly fill our groups with our ideal clients that are already searching for solutions to their business pains. Yeah. So I think when I read this, I said, go deeper on this. Was one of the things I pulled out, because the ideal clients is like marketing jargon, right? So we need it wherever we're using stuff like the freebie seeker, ideal clients, like shit like that. What does that mean? You need to explain this stuff to people. So this is perfect. They actually engage with your content, ask questions, take the initiative to reply to message, and are glad to book a call with you. Right? Like, what do they want? They want people who are active. They want people who fucking talk to them. They want people who get on the phone. And one step further, they want people who will fucking show up to the call. The action takers that you are actually happy to work with because they gladly pay you and implement what you teach, resulting in you not only increasing the quality of your audience, but inadvertently giving you a fatter wallet while achieving those time freedoms most of us started this entire journey for in the first place. Cool. Let me go into results, stacking the results. The benefit of building a community of raving fans is an absolute asset to your cash flow. Does that make sense? Just highlight that. Maybe rejig that sentence. The benefit of building a community of raving fans is that you now have an asset that you can tap into at a moment's notice and generate cash flow. Something like that. My headphones are dying.
One sec.
I could, like that sentence you just said, I could add in my Sunday post, the way you just said it, and say, like I did last Sunday with one Facebook post, it brought in $2,000 in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like super specific.
Yeah. You're creating your own world where you share value and serve folks on the highest level and get paid to do so. So again, that could be, what does that look like? How frequently are you showing up in there, right? How much are you posting? What type of stuff are you posting? But most struggling in this area and blindly add folks hoping and praying to turn a lead into a sale with. So you can see this is just stepping through exactly what they're experiencing, which is why I think it's really, really cool. I decline those faster than you can say group juice. Like integrating humor is good. Right? It doesn't even feel like a pitch. Or fishing in other groups to add everyone there to get your numbers up, not knowing if they are actually into what you have to offer. So now you're switching over. There's a better way. And now you start talking about the benefits of what you guys do, right? And describing what this world looks like. You'll have folks commenting on your posts, raising their hands, asking for more info. That's a great line because that's explicitly what people want on Facebook. Is they want them commenting and they want them saying, "Hey, give me info." You could say asking for info about your offer, right? Or asking for your affiliate link, or you could dial that, like what asking for more info. You want to make it clear that you're talking about not like what's the weather like in Alabama. They're asking about, hey, can I buy your thing? And asking to join your Facebook group all on their own, eager to get inside your world. These are warm inbound messages from folks that know we have something to sell and they know we can help them or something like that, right? It's not just us either. We've taken a small group. Yeah, so I would update this with your as they continue to evolve. Right. And then you're getting into, you could probably consolidate this and this, right? You're talking about results. They could probably be consolidated. All right. Some more results. And we've done this all without. Okay, so here's where we're saying this is the mechanism to do it without the things that you don't want to do. I don't need to read this all for you. You guys can read it. So when you're crafting an offer, this is why it's good to spend a bit of time in advance going, what are their pains? What are they doing that I can help them not do anymore? And this is where I think we spent a lot of our time going back and forth, was dialing the specificity around this in, because this is the money, right? Like these 3 bullets. If you asked any group owner or a person trying to grow a group, that's going to make them jump out of their skin. So there's a bit of future pacing. And then they go into the deliverables. Right. I think it's good that you're saying, we host, like they know exactly what they're getting, right? Like it's a 4-day workshop. It's not a course disguised as a workshop. Like it's explicitly clear, right? Right. Without spending all day on content. So you can get your brand seen by thousands of folks every day to create massive sales opportunities. How to create highly engaging short form content that grabs the attention of your ideal clients on multiple platforms and causes them to take fast action. This is really cool. People love like campaigns and sequences and frameworks and templates and all that kind of stuff. So wherever you can roll that out. And bonuses. And then this just brings it all back to the result. And then it just gets into the investment. Really like this. If you can close 1 high ticket sale out of 20 group members per day, then you'll hit 5-figure months in no time. The 20 group member requests is a slow day once this is set up and humming. So what that's doing is, obviously that's cool, but it's dwarfing the investment. It's like 1 sale, right? 1 or 2 sales. Why wouldn't you do it? You could spell this out even clearer for people. You could say, let's assume for a second you have $1,000 offer. Each day you get 20 new member requests. If you could close just 1 of those people, that's $1,000 a day. You do that every day of the month, that's 30 grand a month, $360,000 a year. And let me just tell you this, 20 group members a day is a slow day when this is set up and humming. Because what you're doing is you're stacking the numbers. So you've just turned the $1,000 reference point into $360,000. So now asking for $1,000 is like minuscule. Then you'll have this process in place for life to bring in leads and sales over and over again, minus all the fancy, complicated shit everyone is preaching. Right. Now, I know you guys have built a bit of a funnel to attach to this, but I'm not familiar with it, so I won't talk about it. But yeah, I wanted to just get this in front of you guys because there's a lot of really good points in there, which I think we've touched on. But the main overarching thing is finding a pain and presenting a new solution that avoids the shit that they don't want to do. And if you guys can do that, you're going to be sweet. And if you just look at like, what's everyone talking about? You're going to see what most people are doing. And typically what a lot of people are doing is going to be a place where there's a lot of frustration, because a percentage of them are going to be getting results and a big percentage of people aren't. It's just any group, right? Like a percentage of people move to the top. So wherever you've got a group of people doing a certain thing, taking a certain action, there's probably going to be an opportunity to present those people with a new vehicle. All right. And these things just go through cycles, right? Like there's going to come a time where there's going to be an offer that's like, are you sick of dancing on TikTok to try and make a buck? Like there's going to be a time where that happens, right? When it's no longer the hot thing. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's just that how angles evolve. Those old organic strategies, right? Like they had their day where they were the hottest and greatest thing. Still work, but you can make a case for sexier stuff. So some really cool stuff in there. And I really, really appreciate you guys letting me